All right, folks, we got a lot of really cool news to go over today, including a hint at a new Xenoblade game or something to do with Xenoblade, maybe something to do with a Nintendo Direct sometime soon. Look, I don't want to get your hopes too high, but we do have some stuff to go over there. We have updated sales as well from Japan for Pocopia. We have actually a kind of interesting look at basically a new small clip for the Mario movie. We're going to attempt to show it today just to see, well, what happens. We have a rumor out there for Winds and Waves, which comes from someone who seems to be fairly reliable. So we're going to talk about that. We got to get into an update Nintendo did to GameCube Classics in making an adjustment to the games. I find rather interesting. There is Shenmue 3 Enhanced coming to Switch 2. We're going to talk about that. We have the release date, and it's very soon for Kenna Bridge of Spirits for Switch 2. Beyond all of that, there's going to be some new toys launching at McDonald's for the Mario movie. So we're going to go over that. And the local authorities in Japan are doing this thing. Nintendo didn't go after these people. The local authorities did, and they are, well, referring some people in Japan for prosecution over something that they were doing to the Switch 1. Nintendo didn't make this happen, but it is something that we need to pay attention to. There's this really cool ad from Square Enix and Nintendo in regards to some sales on Switch and Switch 2. Look, I'm going to play the entire ad, which I almost never do, but I think it's that good. So buckle up for that one. Beyond all of that, we now know Nintendo's plans for PAX East, and looks like I probably made a very good call in deciding not to go to PAX East this year. Although there is one game that will get previewed there that might be exciting for you guys. That's being published by Nintendo. So we'll get into all of that. After I remind you, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 right now. To enter, you just have to go down to the link in the pinned comment or the description. Besides all of that, we're on our road to 162,000 subscribers. And if you're enjoying the content and you want more Nintendo news tomorrow, the next day, rumors, leaks, whatever, you want live streams, podcasts, we try to cover the gambit here when it comes to Nintendo news and discussion. Go ahead and subscribe right here. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive in and first get into the sales data for Famitsu from Japan. We're actually going to use Universal Nintendo because they have one really interesting chart that I hadn't seen before. So we're going over here and we're just going to go down to the data itself because that's what really matters. So for starters, Pocopia, you can see, is at number one at 117,000 units for this last week. That gets it to 658,000, well on its way to be a million seller in Japan. Monster Hunter Stories 3 for Switch 2, it just launched brand new last week. 37,718 with 17,188 over on PlayStation 5. Now, one thing I want to note here is this actually is not great for Monster Hunter Stories. The debut of 2 sold way better, but 2 also came out as an exclusive at the time for Switch. And on top of that, it was much later in the Switch's life where there was a bigger install base. That could play a role here, or maybe it doesn't, and maybe there'll be some evergreenness. I have no idea. I'm just pointing out that the Japan sales were lower than the sales for 2. We get in here, obviously Resident Evil for PlayStation is still doing well. Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly on PlayStation is doing well as a new release. Then you see Mario Kart World at 6, Mario Tennis Fever at 7, Fatal Frame, Crimson Butterfly, Fatal Frame 2, the one that did better, twice as good on PlayStation at number 8. And you see Animal Crossing New Horizons at 9 and the New Horizons Switch 2 edition at 10. All right, as we go down here, we get to the hardware. Switch 2 again at the top. Obviously a drop from last week when they launched Pocopia, or sorry, was it Pocopia they launched? Yeah, I think it was Pocopia the week before. So it is down from that, but still at 96,950, as you see, well ahead of everything else you're seeing on the charts there. And yes, total Switch sales, again, beating out PlayStation 5. And I'm talking about Switch 1 sales. So Nintendo's just crushing it in Japan, as they usually do. As we go down, though, this is what's interesting. In 2026, as of right now, Nintendo Switch 2 has sold over 1 million units already, well on pace to beat last year's numbers, which isn't shocking considering last year's numbers only included, started in June, but also technically launch in holiday. So kind of interesting here that it's outpacing that, but that's really awesome. Nintendo Switch itself at the number 2 spot at 231,557. As you can see, definitely pacing ahead of that 155,000 total from PS5. So I just think this is all really interesting. I'm really happy for Nintendo. I'm really happy, obviously, that things seem to be going well in Japan. Of course, we got to see sales data for other territories for this month. We'll get that next month. Now we're going to jump into a story for the Mario movie. And basically, I'm just telling you, the The frog suit is back, guys. We're going to play this clip here in this little closed down window. You can see the frog suit is back. Luigi has it, gets into, well, I think it's a blooper, right? Either way, spits him back out, runs away. Cool. Just wanted to see if we could even show a clip like that without Universal and Nintendo, mostly Universal, coming after us. So just wanted to cover that story, not just because I think it's cool, but I also want to do a little testing to see if I can show small clips of the Mario movie if it's official marketing. So cross your fingers, guys, that this video is still up in a few hours and isn't getting dinged and copyright striked, because that would be really, really bad for me right now. Speaking of being really bad, how about some leaks and rumors for Wind and Waves? Okay, it's actually not that bad. We're over at Universal Nintendo here. Said rumor Winds and Waves may have a newer system for free catches. Obviously, this is not coming up well, but it says leaker also claims Game Freak recently began work on optimizing game performance. That's really cool. So come down here. It says with release schedule of 2027, Pokemon Winds and Waves remain within the circle of rumors surrounding the game's development and some of its aspects. The user known as Ball Guy, a leaker who became known for sharing leaks regarding the franchise's game projects, responded to a recent comment from a follower stating that the capture system will be in real time, likely referring to the same form of freedom found in Legend ZA. So, it says you can, at one point, I heard a mechanic for changing balls before release, unsure if this is rain. And this is about real-time catching. So he says, he doesn't know if the changing balls made it in, but he knows that was being developed at one point. Catching system remains. Rather, I haven't heard something more on traditional Pokeball mechanics. So neither the developer nor publisher Nintendo is going to comment on these rumors, of course. So just have to wait and see if these claims come true. But that is really cool to know that like the real-time catching is going to be there for this game. And maybe they're doing some cool mechanic with hot swapping Pokeballs or something about that. I don't know if it's like mid-throw, if you change your mind last second, you want to switch. I honestly don't know. Hey, it doesn't really go into a lot of details, and obviously it is a rumor, so keep that in mind. That actually rounds out today's rumors. Everything else today is an actual report and real news here, including Nintendo GameCube Classics. So Nintendo Classics received adjustments to the CRT filter and the controls. So according to the post by Yukamono on Blue Sky, the recent release of version 1.6.0 of the Nintendo GameCube Nintendo Classics app brought a noticeable change to image and controls in the game, including an updated CRT shader and improvements to analog stick behavior when playing on the Switch 2. One of the points mentioned is the existence of an updated CRT shader that now uses HDR. The same author comments that in previous updates of the Virtual Boy app, he had already noticed signs of HDR support, but hadn't given it much more importance at the time, thinking it might be leftovers from other apps. Furthermore, the post highlights that the analog stick reach is now better, mentioning an improvement in analog stick calibration. This is linked to tests performed on games like F-Zero GX, including a cited video focusing on analog stick calibration and input lag testing on Switch 2, and we'll link to this all down below. After testing, Yokomono says that the overall feeling seems much better and more coherent, and mentions the expectation that similar changes will also come to the N64 app, commenting in previous experiences that aiming in GoldenEye and some analog-dependent minigames was much more difficult than it should have been. GameCube Nintendo Classic is an exclusive app for Switch 2. Now, this is really cool just because, look, while there is obviously chatter for wanting improvements, wanting HDR, wanting the CRT filter to be better, wanting better analog stick stuff, they don't have to do it. They don't have to continue to update and do these improvements, but they are. And it does show that the team behind NSO's game ports and all of that do actually care about trying to deliver a good experience, even if a bit rough around the edges, time to time at release. Talking about you, GoldenEye, with the weird control scheme that you can customize, but it was really weird at first. People have adjusted to it at this point. But anyways, next up, how about Shenmue 3 Enhanced? It is coming to Switch 2, and there's physical editions confirmed. So first off, a trailer here. We're getting some news over here from Nintendo Life as well. And it says, fans of the Dreamcast era Sega, Yu, Suzuki, and Sailors Rejoice officially revealed at Gamescom last year and confirmed for quote-unquote Nintendo platforms. Inning Games has announced that Shenmue 3 Enhanced will be coming to Switch 2 and other platforms this year, with physical pre-orders live literally right now. And by the way, it doesn't look like it's a key card, so it's full physical here. The trailer above gives an overview of the enhancements, which you're watching right now. And the enhancements include things like revamped versions of that 2019 game. The Switch 2 card will be a standard game card, not a game key card. And that's really cool. They also say things like discover the ultimate final full edition, completely bug-free, update-free, fully included on cartridge. No downloads, no patches, no waiting, just complete perfectly optimized experience ready to play. They are literally advertising it that way. They are very proud that this game is literally bug-free, no issues, fully optimized on a cartridge. They are very proud of that fact. So that's really cool. And they're also going to do like some definitive editions and collector's editions, enhanced editions. So let's go over to Nintendo Life here and just take a look at some of this stuff. So as we get here, you see Shenmue 3 enhanced. You can see obviously it comes with like a Blu-ray, definitive history of Shenmue. You see the making of Shenmue enhanced here. You kind of see that special edition. And then over here's another look here where you get that figure. This is the collector's edition where you get all that other stuff, plus some additional goodies here. And let's see the pricing on this. So pre-orders are live on Enix's website with the release for them all is set for Q4 of this year. The base Switch 2 game is going for 54.99 euros. So maybe that's like 60 or 70 here in the US. But then the special edition is going for 74.99 euros, and the collector's edition, which again includes this really cool statue, is 199 euros. So this is really cool, and this comes, following that they kind of teased a Switch 2 version in a interview earlier, but obviously this is the official announcement and confirmation. Really happy to see this game come over. It's a fantastic game. And you know what else is a fantastic game? How about the fact that we got that really nice announcement for Kena Bridge of Spirits coming to Switch 2, which obviously gives us hope that the sequel that is coming to PlayStation 5 this year will eventually make its way to Switch 2 as well. But how about the fact that they dropped a new trailer? And as you're watching this trailer here, and you note that it's entirely captured on Nintendo Switch 2, you're going to know some cool things. One, obviously, they are not afraid to show you the raw Switch 2 footage. They seem to be very, very proud of this port. But the bigger news here is when the game comes out. So it'll eventually get to it in the trailer you're watching, but it's coming next week. It's coming to the eShop on Switch 2 literally next week. What a great surprise. We didn't know that before today. So that is just, dude, I love it, man. I love everything about this game coming over. It is a really good game. And I'm curious to see, now that it's been some years, when it comes over, is it going to review really well on Switch 2? I guess we'll find out. Next up, Super Mario Galaxy. It has a bit of another update because toys are arriving at McDonald's next week. That's right. They have Alberto, Bowser, Bowser Jr. Wonder, Luigi Frogsuit, Luma, Mario Fireflower, Princess Peach, Rosalina, Toad, and Yoshi. And they got a little video of it here. And what's cool is, you get them in the little toy box, right? They're bouncing them all out. But what's actually cool is they include a keychain ring. So if you want to make these a keychain, that's actually pretty cool. So I gotta say, I think that these toys are actually kind of neat. It comes next week, the same day that Kena Bridge of Spirits comes out. So there you go. I think it's neat. I think it's cool. You guys will have to let me know if you are going to end up buying some Happy Meals next week to at least get one of them. Trying to get the complete collection is going to probably be quite difficult, as it is all the time for these Happy Meals. But good luck. Next up, well, Nintendo might be dealing with, I don't know if they're going to call them lawsuits. I don't really know what's going on. I just know 4 people in Japan are in trouble. So here's the story from Go Nintendo. 4 men referred to prosecution after admitting to selling modded Switch hardware, which is illegal to do in Japan, by the way. So anyone who decides to dabble with selling unofficially modded Switch hardware must know Nintendo is always looking to squash these activities, which is why it's so surprising to see people continue to think they can hide from Nintendo's watchful eye. Not surprisingly, Nintendo's wide net has managed to catch yet another group of hardware modders, and they could be facing some serious legal troubles going forward. 4 Japanese men have been referred to the prosecution by Kyoto police on suspicion of violating Japan's Trademark Act, as they were selling modified Switch hardware that allowed for to basically play pirated games. That was the whole point of the mod. Apparently, the group had modified 45 Switch units and sold just 15, but it earned them somewhere between 3,700 and 5,600 USD. Since the group's discovery, they have admitted to the charges, so they are not even hiding the fact that they did break the law in Japan. We're not quite sure how these things will play out from here with fees and jail time possible. We'll keep an eye on the matter and bring you an update once their fate has been decided, which we'll follow up on the story when that does happen. Look, guys, if you're modding in Japan, especially if you're selling modded hardware for the purpose of piracy, it's literally against Japanese law. So I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know. I'd like to think because they only sold 15 and they only had 45 that they probably wouldn't get jail time. I don't know how prosecution works in Japan, how like stone cold they are with like putting people in jail. I suspect a fee they'll have to pay back, and obviously they probably already did hand over all the hardware they had and pay back the money that they made, and probably have a fee on top of that. So maybe they end up paying Nintendo like $10,000 or something. This is obviously just me guessing and speculating. I can't pretend I actually understand or know how the legal system works in Japan. Next up is maybe the most exciting thing today, and it comes from Nintendo. And I know I said we were done with rumors, and that's because we were done with new rumors. What if I were to tell you an old rumor has come back, and now the speculation begins on what it's for. So back in January, Nintendo put out a tweet that simply said, Xenoblade. That's it. He's done this before with other things, and that is how he has teased future game announcements, and he's got a really good track record at this. Well, he said that back in January. We're in March, so why are we talking about it now? We obviously talked about it back in January. Well, today, he did something that he's never really done with the other ones until it was around the time to announce something. He retweeted it today. And you'll see 3 hours ago, you see this post Saturday night. This is today. He retweeted this today, which heavily suggests that he is aware that this game is being announced relatively soon. And I say relatively soon, let's say till the end of April, right? Give it a little 6-week window here. Could be relatively soon as in this month, but, and there's obviously no idea what this Xenoblade is. Is it a brand new Xenoblade? Is it just Xenoblade 2 Switch 2 edition? Or if it's Xenoblade 4, would this be what that Legends game potentially was that we've been talking about, speculating? It could be different things, including a possible Xenoblade game. And what if it's Xenoblade 4, that's actually a hint at a direct? He's not saying that. No one else is saying that. I want to be clear that it's just speculation, and I don't want to get you guys' hopes up. A direct is happening sometime soon. This could be just Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition, Switch 2 Edition, and they just drop it on the Nintendo Today app, right? I want to be very, very clear. Not saying this means a direct, but it at least warrants the conversation for some people, especially since Nintendo is so accurate with this stuff. But again, he retweeted it now, which suggests there must be something happening with it relatively soon. But we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Maybe put a pin in it. Next up, though, what we don't have to put a pin in is Matt Mercer and Ben Starr. Back at it again this year. Nintendo publishing a Square Enix publisher video on their official YouTube channel. A sale for Switch 2. And I'm just gonna, you know what, guys? I don't normally do this. Like, play raw trailers, full on. We're gonna play this for you guys. Hopefully. If you see a hard cut where I come back and it's not played, just know that means we got dinged. All right, guys, check it out.
Hi, I'm Matt Mercer, acclaimed actor, spinner of stories, grower of hair, and Vincent Valentine in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. I'm here today in your lucky eyes and ears to help you answer a simple question. What should I play today? Well, the answer is and always should be a Square Enix RPG, of course. Many of their greatest games are available at a reduced price right now in the 2026 Square Enix Publisher Sale. But how to pick?
What do you think you're doing, Mercer? This is my elaborate side hustle.
Not anymore, Ben Starr, star of 2025's Square Enix Publisher Sale video. The laws of sequelization decree that any ized sequel must be bigger and or better than the year before.
So you're saying that you're bigger and or better than me, Mercer?
I'm saying I am bigger and better than you, Ben Starr.
Mercer. Star. Mercer. Star.
Okay. While I do enjoy the exhilarating thrill of a dynamic verbal back and forth with a worthy and less attractive sparring partner...
Less attractive? You wound me, Mercer. You know my looks are all I have.
Oh, please, you're a natural 6 at best.
Hi, I'm...
Okay, that's it!
And I'm...
Okay, now let's talk RPGs. Looking for something that'll make you both think and feel? Well, Final Fantasy Tactics: The Evilest Chronicles isn't just considered one of the greatest in the tactical RPG genre, but one of the best in the entire Final Fantasy series, so, you know, pretty good. The story focuses on 2 childhood friends, Ramza and Delita, who find themselves on divergent paths as a war of succession breaks out across the realm of Evilus. The Evilus Chronicles enhances this legendary game of strategic battles with a host of improvements, including a redesigned user interface, improved visuals, and an updated script which is now fully voiced by a talented cast of actors, including...
Me! I worked so hard on it. Please say my name.
Think about what makes the best RPGs, well, the best. Compelling characters, brilliant battles, marvelous music, and a total lack of Ben Star. Well, Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster has the lot. When the world of Luxemdark is plunged into chaos, a group of unlikely allies head out to restore the elemental crystals that govern the world. It has an exciting story, thrilling turn-based battles, and a flexible job system that lets you become spell-slinging mages, high-flying Valkyries, all-singing, all-dancing performers, and much more. And, I mean, just listen to that soundtrack.
I'll fight you for it.
What?
The hosting job, I'll fight you for it.
Yeah, how the hell did you get that?
Imagination is a powerful tool, Matthew.
Yeah, fine, let's get this over with. What are you waiting for?
We're talking RPGs. It's turn-based, I'm waiting my turn.
Turn, you say? Have you played one of the defining action RPGs of the modern age? If not, you owe it to yourselves to play Nier Automata. This award-winning game follows androids 2B and 9S on a mission to reclaim the Earth from machine lifeforms. An emotional story, fabulously flashy combat, and plenty of surprises. Oh, and pro tip, keep playing after the credits roll. Octopath Traveler 0 is a completely standalone tale of restoration and retribution. You create your own customizable protagonist and embark on an epic quest to find those responsible for the destruction of your hometown and bring them to justice. And if you can rebuild your hometown along the way, all the better. It has beautiful HD 2D visuals, more than 30 quirky characters to recruit to your team, and thrilling turn-based battles with up to 8 party members at a time. RPG perfection. So, what game will we discover next?
Is it Final Fantasy VIII? I hope it's Final Fantasy VIII.
Who the hell are you?
I'm Puppet Ben Star. You said you didn't want to see the real Ben Star, but how can you say no to this fuzzy little face? Look at me, I'm adorable.
How the hell are you even doing this?
Oh, don't look at him. I hate that guy.
Well, I can't stay mad at you, Puppet Ben. You're so much more talented and handsome than regular human Ben.
I get that a lot.
You know what? Go right ahead, knock yourself out.
Yay! Did you know that it's the 40th anniversary of the Dragon Quest series this year? What better way to celebrate than going back to the games that essentially created the Japanese RPG as we know it? Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. Remake the first 2 Dragon Quest games in the HD 2D visual style. I mean, it's all there in the title, right? But these are no simple ports. These 2 classic adventures have been rebuilt for modern audiences with new content, beautiful visuals, orchestrated music, and much more. What's old is new again, and it's awesome.
Nailed it. And there we have it. A selection of sensational RPGs that you won't want to miss.
And remember, all these games are available at a reduced price in the 2026 Square Enix Publisher Sale.
That's it from me. I've been Matthew Mercer, the now permanent host of Square Enix's videos. I'll be back next year to give you a look at another batch of incredible games. See you then.
Actually, this is my elaborate side hustle now.
All right, I hope you're still here. We're not done. We have one more story to get into, and that is that Nintendo has revealed their plans for PAX East. And I gotta say, I'm glad I'm not going, because the purpose of me going to these events are to cover Nintendo games and third-party games coming to Switch 2. And there could be some third parties that are coming to Switch 2, to be clear. But if we're gonna go to a PAX, we want to go to one where we know Nintendo will have stuff. That's PAX West. PAX East, though, they decided to come back this year after not being there last year. So people are like, well, what are they advertising? What's so exciting? Well, let's get into it. So as we go down here, they revealed their plans, and they're going to be doing Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition Meetup in Bell Park. They're going to have that as a demo, and you might think that's really cool until you realize PAX East starts on March 26th, and Bella Park DLC launches on March 26th. So I don't really need to go to PAX East to try that out if I want to, or cover it. In fact, what's the point of covering it? You guys can literally already play it. Next up, Pokemon Pocopi. Look, I get marketing it. I actually understand why this is there. They absolutely should continue to advertise the game. But it's already out. So in terms of me covering news and making content off it, that ship has sailed, right? But then we get to the last one, and this is what's really cool. We're talking about Pokemon Champions. Now, that one is right now slated to come out. We don't have an exact release date, but it's supposed to be sometime in April. So that's actually kind of cool that you do get to preview that. It is coming to mobile devices and, Switch 2 and stuff like that. I assume it'll be the Switch 2 version there, although it's probably the Pokemon booth, so maybe they have the mobile version available to try as well. So that is kind of a cool thing. Now, look, my interest in Pokemon isn't like through the roof, and if I'm going to focus on Pokemon, probably going to be like on the mainline games coming out, like Wind and Waves, which we will obviously continue to cover as we get more news on that. But I'm going to cover news on Pokemon Champions as well. So if anything comes out at PAX East next week that's new for Pokemon Champions, that's worth discussing, we will definitely bring it up. But for my money and the thousands I would have to spend to be there, just going there to cover just that game, look, we're not just a Pokemon channel, we're a Nintendo channel. We would need a larger swath of games to justify spending that kind of money on a trip. So we're just looking to go back to PAX West like we did last year, and PAX West was massive and packed with games. And I have a feeling it's probably like that every year because it is located in an area that's closer to where a majority of game developers are in the US. Oh, and by the way, it's in Microsoft and Nintendo's backyard. So it's another reason why a lot of big publishers, including Nintendo, always show up big there. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. This has been a fun one. I know it's getting published a little later than I would like today, guys, but I mentioned yesterday on the live stream or on the podcast or somewhere, I mentioned that it was going to be a bit of a long day for me today, but I did promise a video. The video's here. We had a lot of great news today, and I'll catch you in the next one.